Commissioner, welcome back to Detroit. Thank you for this opportunity. We're excited for your visit for so many reasons. First and foremost, with the Detroit Lions football team having a fantastic season, I got to believe the NFL is excited to see this franchise having this success right now.
Yeah, absolutely. These fans have been so passionate and supportive of this team over the years. And to see them last week, just watching that game, you could see the energy and the emotion. It's wonderful to see them be rewarded with a great football team that's doing well. And I know that's bringing this community together in a way that probably has never happened before. And we're glad to see the Lions at the front of that.
Obviously, it's good for the Lions and for long-suffering Lions fans to see this, but this has to be good for the NFL as well, that the Lions are having this kind of success.
Absolutely. Liking to see teams go, from where they've been. I think one of the things that makes us proudest about this league is the competitiveness of it. We have a team that's gone from last in the division to first in the division this year in the playoffs. That's a great thing, and I think it's unique to our sport that we have such a competitive sport where teams can turn around, and it's tough to win in this league. So it's not that the Lions weren't trying; they were giving it their best. It's just tough, and it's a tribute to what they've created here. The Ford family, Sheila, and her leadership, and the people that she has brought in. Congratulations to them. It's just really remarkable.
To go from 0-16. The Hard Knocks.
Oh, we forget those years.
The Hard Knocks exposure, now to win in a division. The ratings that the Lions and Rams game generated, a divisional playoff game now. A friend of mine said, hey, the Lions are becoming America's team.
And I think it's intentional in a lot of ways because I think they represent so much about this league. Obviously, they're one of the most storied franchises in this league. The reality of it is, I think it started a lot for us last year in the playoffs and that final game of the regular season. As you were going into the playoff, the Lions were out, but they came out and they played on Sunday Night Football against the Packers and they won. And they had nothing to play for, is what people say, but they played for pride. And I think that captured America. I think it captured their personality, their drive, and their commitment to always doing the best they can, which is something that I think people value in this country. And I think they saw that. We were able to bring them back for the kickoff game. And they kicked off in Kansas City against the world champions and beat them in Kansas City. And so I think they've been on some of the biggest stages over the last year, deservedly so. And I think America's really taken to their style of play and who they are and who they represent.
Well, it's electric in this place, and it will be again
you
for
could
the
see
game
it coming
against
through the TV, which was fun. For me last week to be able to see that, and you could just feel the excitement. I was getting texts from people who were here and just said it was the greatest day of their life, and I thought that was terrific.
We are excited, certainly, for what may still be to come for the Lions, but Detroit is excited for the NFL draft as well. Lions' success doesn't hurt the interest for the NFL draft.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, listen. It's all about the passion of this community for football, and football being able to bring this community together. And then, as you get through the season, now you go to the draft, which is our biggest off-season event and a big part of the success of the Detroit Lions today, but also for every club, it's an important day. But for here, where you're hosting it, this is a chance to really put this community on a platform that is global. And millions of people are going to be watching. Millions of people are going to be looking at downtown Detroit and saying, what a great city this is. Forget the economic impact. That's probably more impactful than anything, is to be able to put your city on that stage.
And Detroit's draft will be different than some of the previous NFL drafts that had been taken out on the road, if you will, for the fact that it's right in our downtown core, number one. And then also the importance of the community engagement that is such a driving force of city leaders and the Convention Bureau everybody that is a partner in this effort.
There's no question. And I think that leads to a successful organization when you have that commitment from the public sector, the private sector, all the other organizations that are so well organized here, the Detroit Sports Commission, and everybody who pulls this type of an event together, which is complicated. It's challenging, and it's different in every community. And I'm highly confident that Detroit's going to do this incredibly well, make the NFL proud, but hopefully, more importantly, make Detroit proud.
When the decision was made prior to the draft in 2015 to move it from its traditional every year home to move it into Chicago first and then the other cities, could you have imagined even then what this would become in terms of how big this event is, how impactful this event is for the NFL, but for the cities who have the opportunity also to host it?
The answer to that directly is no. I really wouldn't have imagined it was quite as big, is quite as influential. When we started making changes 15 or 20 years ago, we moved it for prime time, and we moved we shortened the rounds a little bit to make it more a better entertainment product for our fans. But giving it back to the fans and letting them participate in it, I think has been the difference maker of all the changes we've made, because now the communities wrap their arms around it. People want to have the draft. People are traveling to other cities, which I think with Detroit and the location it's in, we'll have other cities, NFL cities, as well as Canadians that'll be coming over for this. So that all makes it special. And, I think every city tries to build on the success of the previous cities. And I'm sure Detroit is going to set a new high watermark.
Yeah, we're excited for that opportunity. In terms of favorite nights that the commissioner is in this job, I would have to think that NFL draft night, and particularly that first round of the draft where you're changing lives, you're making dreams come true, as these outstanding young athletes are called up on stage to meet you. That has to be so meaningful to you.
It is. It's a real honor. These young men and their families have been down quite a journey to get to that place, to realize that they're now an NFL player and where they're going to start their career. And to be part of that moment when it happens is really, it's truly a privilege. And so for me, that is one of my favorite nights. By the end of the night, I'm not so sure. I'm a little beat up and a little tired, but I wouldn't give it back for a second. It is truly an honor.
Yeah. And it is truly life-changing for those athletes
and
their families.
And it's fun to sort of watch them. We meet with the collective group of draft-eligible players on the morning of the draft, and we talk about a lot of things about what it's like to be a professional in the NFL, the transition, and we have NFL players that come in and share in that. And a lot of them are playing it pretty cool. So say, no, I'll be cool. But when that moment comes, it just hits you. And then they come out and the fans are there and that starts to cheer. And it's just, it's a really emotional moment for these young men, and it should be. They've worked hard for it.
We have had many, many NFL players who have been born and raised in Detroit, playing in the NFL. I mean, and then when they had the opportunity, for the draft to be in the hometown of some of these players who are still active and standouts in the NFL, that's a pretty cool thing too.
It is. We had a pretty famous player played at the University of Michigan that's doing a pretty good job at the Detroit Lions. And it would have been really cool to have him drafted here, but I think he's pretty happy where it worked out. So having him come back to Detroit after having a great career in Michigan and now just being such a tremendous player. And more importantly, these young men are such great people in the community, and they care deeply about their communities. And I think that's the thing that people underestimate. We know how wonderful an athlete they are and what great football players they are, but the reality is they're great people and their families.
And Aiden Hutchinson has made
huge
impact
he's certainly at that level
on this team and in this community.
Yeah.
Commissioner, we thank you for this. We're looking forward very much, April 25th to the 27th, with the NFL here for the NFL draft. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all you're doing to have this. We're excited.